there's a lot of trouble in the world. I think many of us are finding it difficult to put it all together. I mean, there's the war between Russia and Ukraine and the war going on with Israel and Hamas. But, there are failed countries like Haiti and unending trouble in Yemen and more refugees than anyone knows what to do with, more than we've ever had before. In the meantime, several countries are really divided politically with, this strident right showing up in multiple countries and trying to re-steer the ship. And it's just overwhelming. And increasingly, there are demonstrations for ceasefire and people saying we want peace, we want to restore balance in the world. And what do? What do you and I do? That's what I want to talk about. And I want to focus on really what I have done to try to be a peacemaker, to be a person of peace, to bring peace into the world. And as I share my experience with this, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel as well as to click the bell so you're notified of future videos. When I was much younger, starting really in my late teens and early 20s, I was involved in a lot of protests and demonstrations and marches and all those kinds of things. For civil rights, for nuclear disarmament, for better health care, for the environment, for all kinds of reasons. And it took me about 20 years of protesting and letter writing and all that kind of stuff to realize how angry I was, how angry I was and wanted to make change. And I wanted to make sure people who were responsible felt guilty for what was going on. And then it occurred to me, my mindset was really wrong. I was actually bringing more anger and vitriol into the world than I was bringing peace and compassion. Now, yes, all through that time, I practiced meditation. I was mindful of my spiritual life. But I had this thought that to really be working for peace and justice meant to get all riled up all the time. And that was really doing me harm, and it was doing other people harm too. Because, you can't make someone else be peaceful. You can't make someone else be compassionate for others or work for the well-being of others. And coming at them strongly is just going to make them more defensive and entrenched. So that doesn't work at all. But it took me to midlife to figure that one out. What became clear to me was something that many spiritual teachers have said for ages. Basically, if you want peace in the world, you start with being at peace with yourself. That when we live in a peaceful way, with holding on to our inner peace and live with compassion for all beings, then we begin to change the world. It's rooted in what you and I do. And so I became much more aware of what it meant for me to be at peace. And I don't mean that in an escapist way, like I'm going to safeguard my peace and the world can go to wherever it goes. No, I still stay engaged. But how I engage is differently. Like if I go to a protest today, before I go, I make sure that I'm well grounded and that I am carrying peace with me. I may yell slogans or whatever, but it's coming from a different place in me. And it's about trying to teach compassion to an awareness that there's some relatedness that we have with each other and that's primarily important. When we carry ourselves through the world with peace, the more compassionate we are as people, the more we invest in others, people notice. Something reverberates with them and it draws them into that. Some people ask, how do you stay so calm all the time? What's that about for you? And so I'll tell them a little bit, but it's also something they have to discover on their own. But They don't discover it unless they experience it from someone else. And you can be that source of experience. Now, let's be sure that we understand that there are lots of people in the world who want us to fight. They stoke politics of fear. The media does this. Political leaders do this. They want us to be afraid of each other so that we'll react. And here's the trick. If we're living in a peaceful way, if we're living with calm that's born out of our spiritual practice, we don't respond to those tactics of fear. We see right through them. And again, the more people that move to that place, the less those tactics have an impact on society. So you want to work for peace, you want peace in the world, be attentive to your own spiritual life and nurture peace and compassion for yourself in your life, demonstrated in your life, in your day-to-day exchanges with people. When you get engaged with political issues, carry that peace with you. And that will be a transformative practice. That will be a transformative way to engage in the world. And that will bring change in the world. It starts with you and me. It starts with how we live our life. And if you're finding stumbling blocks in this process, yes, work with a spiritual director. Reach out to me. We'll talk about how to do that. I'll help you find one. If it's not me, that's not a problem. But again, we must carry peace into the world. We must transform the world. That's the only way it's going to happen. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, like the video, share it with others, leave me some comments, and know that I really appreciate the time you spend with spirituality beyond borders. Have a really great day, a day filled with peace.